Suur tänu. Thank you everybody for coming today. Thank you Britta from VEMU, our Estonian Museum Canada, to help us to co-host this very special moment today on a Sunday with Britta. It's Sunday evening for Britta in Estonia, so we appreciate her taking the time. I know she has a family and it's later in the evening, so I thank Britta for doing this for us. We really appreciate it. I had the wonderful pleasure of meeting Britta last year, and she was in the Hamilton area. Hamilton is such a wonderful, thriving hotspot for a lot of Estonian artists and a lot of encouragement coming from the cotton factory. So for anybody who doesn't know, they've really taken the ball and helped. Rob Seidler has really helped Estonian artists and continues to be very interested in doing that. So last year, Britta came to Hamilton, and Merika Koker is on with us today, and she also probably got to spend some time with Britta and her family. She came with her son, Oko. And I was able to go with Britta to the McMichael Gallery. So that was a fantastic day. We had a great day for that. And we also, with all this traveling, with everything being so far away in Toronto and GTA and everything, we always have to take into account travel time. So we get to chat in the car, which was good. We went to the Women's Art Association of Canada in downtown Toronto, and we also went to 401 printmaking studio, which is also an archival, beautiful print facility in downtown Toronto. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, Britta, for the time spent. It was so enjoyable, and that we're so pleased that you were able to take the time to make some art in Canada and then be able to take it back to Estonia and to have it exhibited in a show in ESD as well. So we're excited to hear a bit about that. And we just wanted to let everyone know that Britta has studied printmaking at the Estonian Academy of Arts, where she's currently also finalizing her doctoral project called Thinking in Layers, Imagining in Layers, Post-Humanist Landscapes in the Extended Field of Drawing and Printmaking. So she's an instructor there in the printmaking workshop at the Academy, and she's taught various courses in the school. And we were just talking earlier about different age groups of people too. Britta has quite a bit of experience with that. And she's had artistic residencies in Canada, Austria, and Iceland. So welcome, Britta.
Thank you, Elva. It was really nice. These were really nice hours in the car with you and all the visits. So maybe at first I was thinking to share an animation with you from the exhibition of Becoming a Landscape. Yeah, the talk will be quite an experiment itself, showing and telling. Does not have a sound with it. Maybe I'll introduce the exhibition during this. So the idea was that tectonic layers are alive, moving and breathing, forming mountains and flooding continents. The layers arise from above while shaking and cracking holes and fissures to the Earth's crust. In order to imagine the future, one has to look at the past to form a better understanding about the present. So imagining the Earth's layers, I'm also working with layered approaches to art. In a way, working in layers can be also called a method of piling up. Materials, traces, and images cover each other, just like the layers of earth form a huge globe. Poetically flowing mountains can be discovered in the heap of blankets on my bed, on a topographic map, or in an atlas of imaginary beings. So this was my press release, short text about the recent exhibition that was in the Tartu Art House gallery in January, February 2022. So this video is part of the exhibition and illustrated maybe well what I'm intending or what I'm trying to tell as when talking about layers in art. And maybe I will introduce my extended abstract of my research, but maybe before it, I will also shortly show you how this animation was done, as this is already maybe even more important or interesting than the outcome itself. So the animation was done at my studio in Põhja-Tallinna in Kopli, where I am right now also. And for this, I have built a specific, let's say, table with the glass shelves, or so there was like 5 glass layers, and on these layers I placed different found objects, mainly fabrics from my studio, stones from beaches, and some other material, and also clay, plasticine was there, and glass pieces as shown here. So there was a camera filming on top of it, and that's why it's also called lamenukk animatsioon in Estonian. So it's like flat puppet animation, as the space is created so that you see a little through from the glasses, the under layers, so to call. And with focus and with light, you can change the scenery. So making of pictures here, and so a bit like this looks the set. So the background of mine is also that I have made not only printmaking and drawing, but also a lot of animations. thanks to my husband, who has the knowledge and the skills, and who has the will to experiment with me, as he works in puppet film studio. So I'm always very eager when I get there, and if I see the different techniques and methods there, how the puppet film may be done. I have done also drone animations and puppet film animation and 3D animation a little too, but this time I tried out this cutout animation. But now I will show you photos of the rest of the exhibition that was held in Tartu Art House just recently, and where you see also many big works that were done in during the residency in Canada, Hamilton. And at the same time, I'm reading out loud my extended abstract, so you will get an idea what I'm writing and researching about. So in the focus of my artistic research is the potential of graphic art in the context of contemporary art. I attempt to extend printmaking and drawing across art media and writing. Printmaking is a process of disassembling and reassembling an image into layers. In my practice, this method transfers into thinking in layers and becomes a tool for creating artifacts, writing text, and executing research. Via rhizomatic combination of genres, I create my own space, wording, to use Donna Haraway's term. The world I envision is a post-human landscape, meaning both a world imagined in the far future after human, as well as a representation of post-humanitarian ideas, like abandoning human-centeredness and researching for the possibilities of life on the ruins of Anthropocene. I practice old, time-consuming media, turning printmaking and puppet film into a stage of my fictional world. So now I describe what I'm thinking about if I talk about thinking in layers and worlding in layers. The layered way of storytelling results from layered work, which in turn results from layered thinking and imagination in graphic arts. Printmaking is technically characterized by layered operation. I transfer printmaking method to other media, adding conceptual and technical layers, extending conventional art fields. Experimental hybrid texts with different, also fictional techniques within or with academic research create new perspectives on what the written part of an artist's research could be. I'm inspired by the social anthropologist Tim Ingold's way of thinking and analyzing, boldly matching the contents of different disciplines, what he characterized as fungal mycelium. Fungi extending fibrous mesh all over the place. He compares and classifies lines, mixing up different disciplines, and creates a new one, the anthropological archaeology of the line. The space I create, stage, or perform is my own space. By the term own space, I mean a special microcosm that an artist creates in his or her works through the approach of mental and physical space and self-reflection. Own space in Estonia is oma room, and it is widely used in Estonian art texts and familiar to the local artists from the texts of Leonard Lapin's composition studies. But in English, the term own space does not share the same layers of meaning. The Estonian language own space, ehk oma ruum, means more than just a substantive description and explanation of works of art. It involves everything read, heard, or even dreamed when sleeping that forms a semi-intuitive vision of own world. That is why I included the term worlding in my art research in English, which in turn cannot be directly translated into Estonian. Then I use, for example, kujutlemine for worldling. For me, the ubiquity of these meanings works similarly. The Almanac of New Materialism defines worlding is particular blending of the material and the semiotic that removes the boundaries between subject and environment, or perhaps between persona and topos. American biologist, cultural researcher, and philosopher Donna Haraway makes extensive use of the word worlding as the creation of a new world order or social system that allows all forms of life to work together, inseparably intertwined and be in constant motion. As Haraway claims, science fiction is one definition of worlding. It is the patterning of possible worlds and possible times, material semiotic worlds gone here and yet to come. Haraway is using the verb worlding as a liminal, active, intervening, and dynamic process. Worlding so could be a useful verb for artists to describe the creating process, which is not limited by producing artifacts. Worlding is storytelling, imagining, staging, describing, and moving. So the next part is about opening up what do I mean about of the post-human landscapes. So layer by layer, my science fiction reveals itself in form of a temporary event. Exhibition in Tartu Art House this time. Gallery is an ideal heterotopic space to materialize Foucault's notion of fictional non-space that can be tied to specific time and space. The place where non-human character wakes up is not nightmare-like apocalyptic place, but rather idyllic area after apocalypse where non-human species have occupied urban landscapes. My work does not tell whether and how the human race has finished once for all, but shows and shifts the world to nature and earth-centric. Heterotopia is a space outside all spaces, yet localizable. My artwork is a skiffy or a cliffy climate fiction, an idea, yet it was located in the gallery in the Tartu Art House for 4 weeks from the end of January 22. Philosopher Michel Foucault describes the theater and the cinema as providing for heterotopia, where many incompatible spaces meet and fit in space one after the other. So the gallery as a staging space for incompatible spaces could also provide for heterotopia. And the world in the exhibition format, which is no way compatible with the Tartu Art House gallery, is also a heterotopic phenomenon, a physically tactile utopia. I could call the exhibition hall a theater, for first of all, I consider my exhibition as a kind of performance, a combination of different dynamic elements. I also examine the exchange and disappearance of meanings, including the place of remembrance and nostalgia in my own space. Experience of alienation from the familiar, transformation in the signifiers, as well as in art tools and exhibitions. I look at contemporary architecture with ruinenlust, desire for ruins, looking at cityscapes as if they were old leftovers of an ancient civilization gives me the key to a new way of thinking and imagining. Particular nostalgia here is reflective rather than restorative and dreams of the potential futures rather than imaginary pasts. I was putting voim, ruinophilia. and a bit more of the extended drawing and prints field. I see strong connection between the art of drawing, printmaking, and animation. In my practice, these media are constantly in dialogue, materially and conceptually. One grows into another within the process. I use the term extended fields because I don't stay within the traditional boundaries of a medium. Constant flow, moving over the edge, and creating hybrids are inherent in my art practice. A drawing becomes a print, then a three-dimensional installation, and finally, a performance with sound and animation. Learning new techniques involve productive clumsiness, wrote the American painter Helen Frankenthaler when experimenting with printing techniques. I work similarly to the painter, praising the unexpected encounters and the awkwardness of the print that may happen with using a new or little familiar technique. I borrow a notion of taché as an uncontrollable medium in print that contrasts the intended mark, the touch. The medium works also outside the intention of the artist. Taché, the clumsy footprint, is an important in my art practice as a control trace. Both the processes of etching and animation contains marks of taché. My techniques involve quite some so-called blind drawing stages that provide for touch to be conditionally transformed into a taché, a strange or alienated imprint. When copying and drawing an image, for example, on an etching plate, I don't actually see my drawing quite clearly and precisely. The uneven surface of the coating varnish and the reflective copper plate are confusing, so I have better to believe and trust myself than to try to see the actual drawing. Yet I'm sure the image I wanted to put on the plate is there. I only see in the last stage whether and which an image finally prints from the copper plate on the paper, when the image has already been printed on the paper. This is kind of a magical moment when you have been blindly working with your matrix for a long time and finally lift the wet gravure paper off the copper plates to see the impression. You never know exactly what the result will be. Taché is the reason that makes printing techniques so engaging to me due to the many unexpected shifts and fetches that are added as a part of the process. Similarly, a cutout film is made blindly until the very last stages. The objects are photographed shot by shot, image by image, with very small changes in step. After a long work, when there are hundreds and thousands of photos, a moving picture can be assembled as a series of images. It becomes clear only in the assembly program whether the animation is smooth. The filming period is based more on faith than on firm knowledge that the resulting work will be the expected one. Unexpected shifts, flickers, and wriggles are sure to come in during filming. And in my case, once again, the clumsiness, blemishes, tachés are intentional. Openness and liminality of graphic arts, both drawing and printmaking, the intermediate state being on the threshold, carries a huge potential for change, being essentially nothing and hybridization. The essence of drawing is that drawing has no essence. Instead of being static in an art medium, there is endless unrolling of materials and gestures, limitless potential. Art making is a liminal state of constant change and becoming, imagining and worlding, thinking and layering. So this was my extended abstract of my research really quickly. and I really wanted to show you also maybe the scenery before. Here you see the photos of the exhibition already. Photos are made by Jürgen Vainola, and these pictures are also from the opening of the exhibition. But maybe I will show you also images of making of the same prints and drawings. Again, I share the screen, and here you see how these screen prints in Hamilton during the residency were done with the artist instructor Lane Kronevik in Smokestack Studio, where the Yamal Hole and also the local devil sponge ball images were created. I'm super thankful that I got this opportunity. Okay, my photos are so and about this making. I'm really happy that also the Hamilton Spectator and also of course Eesti Elu and Merike Koger were really there and documenting the process as it is really interesting on how the layers and the so-called, as I call it, blind drawing is made before you will actually see the colored outcome. And it was really special for me also because I haven't done screen print with in such a high and difficult quality. So there was knowledge to bring with me to Estonia and in academy also. And I already see that the screen print area of our printmaking studio in academy that was before almost nothing, like a corner just in our big workshop, now is like increased, getting huger and huger because all the students are working with this relatively easy technique compared to other printmaking techniques maybe. And I see a lot of many colorful screen prints around me. So we can play Lane Kronevik with this. And this was his studio. Really enjoyable time. This was how the image was, how the layers were cut it out, let's say, before. All these images will be different color layers and piling or screening them or printed them on top of each other. We will have a colored image in the end. And this is me very happily in this Hamilton cotton factory residency space where many drawings were made. So I have to say that these weeks, 5 weeks in Hamilton was really crucial for this exhibition that you saw before. And this picture is where also Elva invited me, and I was really happy to be the part of the last year's exhibition of EKKT, Estonian Artists in Toronto. And there I actually showed my works from the exhibition Dystopic Tallinn that was held in 2018, or 19. I'm so old already, I didn't remember the years. Anyway, in altogether, during this doctoral research or these doctoral studies that I have been held or have been ongoing now for 4 years almost, I have had like a triology of exhibitions with relatively similar to topic actually. And this topic Tallinn was the first one of this peer-reviewed exhibitions. Then there was a second one, Ruin Lust in Lasnamägi, and now the exhibition that you just saw is Becoming a Landscape was the third one. So they are, that the concept is the same. Here I can show you Hamilton's cotton factory and my view from my studio there, and how it was in the beginning, where everything was clean and I didn't have the stuff yet piled up, and the drawings that I made there. And these. So yeah, I must say that the idea of the abstract shapes of the land started to shape up already in the residency in Iceland, where I was in 2020, where the monstrous, let's say, fjords landscape really kind of changed maybe my way of, or the way I drew. Let's say the landscape became much more important than maybe the architecture itself, and it became also much more abstract. And also this drawing was made in Hamilton, and this was like really site specific. This devil sponge ball serigraphy. As the earth's layers are really nicely here, readable, and also this image or a building from the future as an ancient ruin is also added. And this Yamal hole also was the first image that I printed in Canada, as I am drawing like mountainous landscape all the time, so the hole just really wanted to also come there as the antipode and the shape. And these were actually offset lithography that I also was able to print, like really surprisingly. I went to visit Open Studio Toronto, really nice huge printmaking studio. And after a visit, oh, this is another new thing already. After a short visit, the master there also like invited me back to make a quick print there. Yeah, my images are not in the right order, but yeah, this is also that I got like many feedback or many articles about me in Estielu during this time. Thank you, Merike. and my studio, yeah, and this is again from the Open Space Toronto, how was the outcome of our printing session. Monstrous land became more monstrous. The local curator is choosing works for them to archive, and the local instructor or artist Britta Benno was working with me. That was a happy day, one of the many happy days. Some found objects. So yeah, I made smaller paintings and drawings there also. The view of my studio when I had already a bit more things going on. Yeah, I kind of colonize the whole space. Yeah. Sadly, I wasn't able to present my work there as I was there, as it was like this difficult Corona time still. But I'm really happy that I was able to work there, and as you saw the finalization of this work was still the big exhibition in Tartu Art House. So everything worked out. Yeah, and another waterfall we were visiting with Merike there. Yeah, and Uku. We visited a lot of touristic stuff also, of course, Toronto show. And yeah, and this is how we were doing screen prints with Lane. Some first layers with cyan blue. And the last picture is how we were also visiting this Estonian school. Yeah, maybe if to show a little bit more of again like this making of pictures, then I will show you also what was happening here when I came back and before the exhibition. The hugest and maybe most uncontrollable work was, of course, making this huge installation, this mountain installation that you saw also on pictures. I had 3 helpers with me, students. Luckily, I got them who were able to sew up and tape up this huge pile of materials, let's say, because again, like most of the materials were reused or like found fabrics from my own studio, as I have been quite a collector for some time, and they also got some materials with them. So the bigger or the higher part of this mountain was made of textiles, and the underground, let's say the under level of 2 meters and more was made of plastic. So the idea was like the height of a human being was plastic. So this is just the beginning. It was really, we had to test it out. But we still had no idea how it will look like and how huge it was before we were in the gallery space, because I have a quite nice big gallery room or studio room here in Kopli, but still not big enough for this kind of sculptural working, let's say. And also I continued already started these hybrid drawings, as I call them, the huge works on canvas, and I added these how is it, plastic pieces, also cut out with laser. And of course, part of the making of it was also collecting stones and working with stones and working with Tartu University's geological foundation, I think, or yes. So from there, I borrowed the nice nice collection that was next to my own work. So there was like a museum from the future, let's say. So these are like making of the works, and also as you see also that I also all the time read and write during the painting and drawing stages. Yeah, some founds from the collection of Tartu Universities. It was also really nice collaboration, and I must point out that this kind of collaborations with different masters and different workers, art workers, has been really crucial for making this kind of really like hybrid media artworks. This is an image how the students were making this installation, and we also like went to the halls to tape the layers with each other. So I guess I am done really quickly with my images and with the story.
So, tänan väga. Thank you, Britta. That was wonderful. I know that we might have some questions also. I'm noticing too on the side, thank you, that I'm just taking a look at, I think everybody speaks Estonian who is on our list and probably understands Estonian. Would it be okay for us to take a moment here to maybe have a bit of a question and answer in Estonian too? Would that be helpful for you, Britta? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay with everyone here? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Yeah. So, suur tänu, Britta. I'd like to open it up to all our guests. If you have any questions or comments for Britta, please just let us know with your hand. Yeah.
Suur tänu, Britta, et sa jagasid su kunst meiega. Ma tean, et seal on üks tõesti, ma ütlen see inglise keeles, see kunstiterminoloogia on palju lihtsam mulle. I find that there is a really dynamic energy between representational and abstract and in the materials and your use of topography and space, which I think kind of is like, as Estonians, we have such a unique connection with land and how memory affects that, and just how I love the fragile, soft materials. To me, it almost was anatomical, like spaces that you can walk through, and like human tissues and the connection between, you know, the spaces that we are and who we are as individuals. So to me, I found that there was just so much to take in, and what a treat that was. So suur aitäh, Britta.
Thank you, Marika. I was actually even like during this exhibition, I was talking writing about like flesh as earth flesh and skin as earth crush as skin. I think I found.
Yeah, I really got that.
Nice similarities. Also, if we work with art object or art materials, I would also say you kind of like work with the earth's crust or with the top layer, like with the skin. So, yeah.
Yeah, and a great use of kind of observing the Canadian topography of like the Devil's Punch Bowl when you're there, and the materials you collected too. Just the kind of the narratives in the patterns, like in the stones too. I found that there was like a really good harmony between, you know, the land and the space and how that was expressed.
Thank you, Marika.
Hille, kas sul oli küsimus?
Jaa, esiteks ma tänan väga, see oli väga huvitav ja on näha, et on palju muudatusi tulnud sellest ajast, kui me Torontos nägime sinu graafilist kunsti. Ja ma mõtlen, et kui sa alustad ühte kunstitööd, kas sul on idee fiksne öelda, mis sealt välja tuleb või ma sain aru, et see on vahel üllatus sulle endale, et mis see lõpptulemus on, ja kuna sul on kõik need, ütleme, kihid või layers, jah, et kui sa seda teed, et siis kas kõik see idee nagu muutub kuni lõpuni?
See on huvitav küsimus. Ma arvan, et see on ka võib-olla üks selle uurimuse selline, ma ei teagi, põhiline küsimus mõnes mõttes või et mõnes mõttes nagu just mängidagi nende ootamatuste peale, ja ma arvan, et see juhtub igal juhul, isegi kui kui sa planeerid väga täpselt ette tegelikult, mida sa kujutad, siis ikkagi paratamatult mingisuguse käsitsi tehnika juures midagi ikkagi juhtub. Aga ma arvan, et see on erinev, et mõnel juhul ma tunnen küll, et ma mingisugune vabadus nende kujundite loomisel võib-olla tasapisi järjest süveneb või ma ise, mind ennast võib-olla huvitab praegu selline tõesti selline poolintuitiivne abstraktsete vormide loomine. Et see on nagu oleneb teosest. Mõnel juhul ma planeerin ikkagi väga täpselt ette, mis kuhu tuleb. Aga teistpidi jällegi, et mulle mõnes mõttes nagu meeldivad need ootamatused ja sellepärast mulle meeldis ka näiteks seda animatsiooni väga teha, et ma võisin küll ju mõelda välja, mida need kivid näiteks võiksid teha, kuhu suunas liikuda. No see ikka võib-olla selline juba ongi selle uus materialistlik lähenemine, et mõnes mõttes jällegi need kivid tegid, mis tahtsid, et ma ei olnud nagu võimeline seda otsast lõpuni kontrollima, et nad ikkagi mõnikord kukkusid mingisuguses suvalises suunas või ja nii-öelda hakkasid ise looma mingisugust liikumist. Et mingil määral alati materjalid ise otsustavad, mis suunas nad liikuma hakkavad. Aga ma arvan, et see ootamatuste osa on üks kõige ägedamaid asjadest üldse käsitsi tehnikate juures.
Ja veel tahaks ütelda, et alguses mõned tööd tuletasid mulle meelde kuidagi moodi Ots Timmasse töid, kes ka nagu vaatas, mis maa all on ja kõik need kivid nii-öelda. Et see oli päris huvitav, aga muidugi siis läks kõik see hoopis kuskile mujale. Väga huvitavad tööd igal juhul. Tänan sind.
Aitäh, Hille.
Mul on ka üks küsimus ka, aga ma tahtsin ütelda, kui sa rääkisid ancient ruins are you're more reflective rather than restorative. See minu mõttes oli nii huvitav, et see on nagu väga tähtis, eks oli, et me nagu võib-olla vaatame rohkem ja mitte ei hüppa kohe sisse ja peame midagi parandama kogu aeg. Ma arvan, et see oli minule see oli nagu üks huvitav lause või moment. Ja et nagu Hille rääkis ka, mul tuli meelde Robert Rauschenberg, kuidas tema tegi combine paintings ka, eks oli, ja tõi kokku kõiksuguseid asju, mis oli nagu in the environment ja pani nagu kokku ka. Aga just meil on ka nii palju plastikut, eks oli, et see on meil üks suur tähtis environmental issue. Ja ma arvan, et mis mulle meeldis kuulda oli see, et kollaboratsioon, et nagu koostöö kõiksuguste kunstnikutega on nagu üks väga vajalik ja inspireeriv nagu tähtis töö, mis meil on nagu vaja teha. Ja mul oli nii hea meel näha see animatsioon, mida oled teinud ja minu mõttes oli, it was so creative, eks oli, kuidas sa tegid foto just läbi kõik klaasi niimoodi. Fantastic, nii et see kindlasti võttis palju aega ka need animatsioonid kokku panna, sest ma tean, et mu poeg on ka animaator ja kõik see, isegi kui inimesed teevad plasticine nagu need nuku teater sellega, et see võtab palju aega. Nii et kindlasti see võttis aega ja kas see tüdines ära sellest natukene või kas tuli nagu teised ideed sellest?
Ei tüdinenud ära tegelikult. Vastupidi, tegelikult jällegi, kuna see oli esimest korda, kui ma sain seda tehnikat ise läbi teha, siis mul pigem nagu tekkisid nagu järgmised ideed, et ma tahaksin kindlasti jätkata sedasama tehnikat uuesti proovida ja võib-olla nüüd kuidagi veel targemalt. aga jah, nagu ma siin ka mainisin, et mõnes mõttes mulle meeldib avastada see kohmakus, mis tekib sul nagu uut tehnikat läbi proovides, et sa ei saa nagu, just ei ole võimeline kõike kontrollima, et mis siis juhtub.
Wow. Ja muidugi see maastik, see Niagara Escarpment, seal on päris hästi palju vaadata, seal on mitmed kohad, kus on, saab näha kõik need tectonics, eks ole ju kõik need. Ja, täna väga. Kas on veel? Any other questions or thoughts or comments?
Mulle täiesti kõrvaline märkus, aga mul oli nii huvitav kuulata sinu seda kihtide juttu, sellepärast et me nüüd veetsime nädal aega Velveti disainibüroo inimestega siin ja arutasime VEMU tulevast püsinäitust, mille häda saab olema see, et meil on kohutavalt palju sisu, mida sinna panna. Et kuidas seda esitada nii, et igaüks saaks midagi. Ja no nagu sellisel juhul on, mis muuseumid teevad, nad lähevadki seda kihtide teed nii-öelda. Et see on midagi, mida sa saad vaadata nagu läbilennult või ütleme nagu linnulennult, kiiresti läbi joostes või sa avastad mingi kihi, mis sulle spetsiifiliselt huvi pakub või sa tahad minna nagu hästi sügavale ja siis kaevata sealt juba mingi konkreetse asja kohta nagu väga põhjalikult. Et mul oli nagu nii huvitav sind kuulata, et sina oled nagu selle pannud sellisesse visuaalsusesse nüüd kõik selle kihilisuse ja kõik selle dünaamika, mis nagu ka nende kihtide vahel toimub ja mis on kontrollitav ja mida me üldse ei kontrolligi, eks ole, mis lihtsalt juhtuvad asjad meist olenemata. Et see oli nagu nii tore tõustavad sellisesse mingi abstraktsuse tasandile, sest muuseumid on nagu väga konkreetsed asjad. Aga nüüd meie sisekujundajate ülesanne just ongi see, et anda siis sellele, mis arhivaarile tavaliselt tundubki väga-väga konkreetne, anda talle selline mingi intuitiivsus ja selline, et inimesed nagu emotsionaalselt sellele materjalile juurde pääseks. Nii et suur tänu inspiratsiooni eest.
Tähe ja ma arvan, et selline muuseumi töö iseenesest mind ennast ka nagu hästi huvitav või ma olen alati ka näitustesse mingi selline nii-öelda väike muuseum enda poolt lisatud, et jah, selle näituse puhul ma olen õudselt õnnelik, jällegi see koostöö, et ma sain selle Tartu Ülikooli geokogudes siis sobramas käia ja need vanad vitriinkapid ja need kivid, aga lihtsalt ka see, kuidas nad töötavad asjadega, kuidas nad kategoriseerivad, kuidas nad asju tegelikult täiesti teistmoodi näevad. Et see oli ka nagu väga põnev, et mul oli siis geoloogiga nagu vestlus, kuidas tema asju nägi ja kirjeldas ja kuidas mina siis kirjeldasin. Et see on hästi põnev. Mingisugused uued asjad jälle nagu tulevad sealt välja.
Ja vaat see ongi, et see interdistsiplinaarsus on nagu tänapäeval tugev märksõna, et saada nagu värsket inspiratsiooni, siis astu natuke teise liivakasti. Ja siis sinu see enda põhimäng nii-öelda nagu läheb teise konteksti natuke, sealt saab sellist värskeid impulsse, et see on hästi põnev selline interdistsiplinaarsus. Nii et ma kindlasti jagan seda lindistust meie Velveti tiimiga, et ka nemad seda inspiratsiooni saaks, nii et mine tea, äkki keegi kunagi koputab meist sinu ukse taha.
Ja nüüd see kunst, ma leidsin, et see tõesti ütles nagu üks rikas lugu kohtades ja austas neid ja kuidas nagu mälestus muudab ja mõjutab ja need kohad ja et see tõesti on tähtis, ma arvan, et tõesti hinnata need kohad, nagu, millega me oleme seotud.
Jah. Kindlasti, jah.
Ja. Nii, tänan väga ja ma arvan, et võib-olla meil on olnud nüüd aega. Ma ei tea, kas kellelgi veel on midagi küsida või rääkida, aga me täname Britta ja täname Piret ka, et said meiega koostööd seda teha. Ma arvan, et need loengud on meil nagu mõlemad tähtis, eks ole ju, et kõik, ma arvan, et see on, it's a big creative pot tead, kus me saame kõik midagi võtta sellest ja aitab meid kõiki oma tööga. So me täname teid mõlemad, et te panite meid mõtlema selle koha peal. So, nii et Britta on täna väga ja Britta on ka EKKT liige. Nii et me oleme väga õnnelikud, et oled ikka meie EKKT liikmeks astunud. Nii et täna väga kõikidele, kes on täna tulnud. Ja ma loodan, et saate midagi kaasa võtta oma tööle